puzzle games, a subset of video games reserved for only the most intellectual of gamers, requiring players to muster all of their brain power to solve near impossible challenges.
Bro, what the hell am I supposed to do?
Most gamers steer clear of these masterpieces for fear of being bad at game. But you're not the average gamer, which is why you clicked on this video. I've been obsessed with puzzle games ever since I was a little kid. Special shout out to Portal, I love you. So I've decided to make my own. In my game, use a magic camera to manipulate objects in order to solve spatial puzzles. No, it's not f-stop. Now I've already started development. It's called Double Exposure, but as you can see, it's a little So in this video, I have 3 goals to tackle. First, we're creating a view model for the player so we can feel like an actual person. Second, we're doing level checkpoints so we can get the player from chamber to chamber. And third, we're going to make the first level playable. With these accomplished, we'll be 3 steps closer to a demo release. Alright, to get started, we open up Blender, we delete the cube, we add a cube back, and now we're ready to go.
Alright, the arms are modeled and rigged up, so we should basically be done. Let's just look at what's left. Alright, given that I'm not really an animator and I've already UV unwrapped, we're going to go straight into Substance Painter and start texturing this bad boy. Alright, we are in Substance Painter, but before I go any further, we need to talk art style. For double exposure, I'm aiming to make this feel like a PS2 or Xbox era game, where the models aren't low poly, but they're not exactly photorealistic either. Oftentimes, developers focused on the inclusion of real images alongside baked-in shadows to make their games feel realistic on the limited hardware at the time. Therefore, we'll be adopting similar techniques to mimic this effect. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, the view model is textured, animated, and put into Godot. Now we just need to wire it up so we can get into the game.
12 seconds later.
Alright, there we go. Finished view model after like 3 days of work. Let's keep going. Gamers like to cheat.
Wait, what the f? Clara!
Yes, including you. Therefore, I need to implement a mechanic that prevents players from cheating. Right now, a player can capture an object and bring it with them to the next room, which is a big no-no. My solution? Copy port. I meant to say, create a field that clears the player's camera and replaces the object at its original position. And it's done. So basically we have 2 modes here. It's either on or it's off. If it's off, there's really nothing to it. It's just a walkway. But when it's on, it clears the camera and it also acts as a wall so players can't place things through it. So this introduces a new puzzle mechanic and it also allows us to add that clearing functionality we need between levels. So now we're gonna make levels. The most important level in any game is arguably the first because it's what sets that initial impression. Given my limited level design experience, I've noticed that a successful game's first level accomplishes a few tasks. It teaches the player how to play the game. There's no punishment for failing. This is going to allow the player to learn at their own pace and develop a personal understanding for your game's mechanics. It's going to set the tone. It establishes a clear setting and theme, giving the player just enough information to understand the core feeling of your game. And it's going to state the objective, or as I like to call it, the ABA method. The player should understand what they're supposed to do from the moment they're handed the controls. One of my favorite examples of this is Titanfall 2's opening. One of the first things you ever see is this crash ship. This is Objective A. Now the game takes you through about 30 minutes of initial gameplay to familiarize mechanics and set the tone. This is your Objective B. Finally, you end up back at the ship. Now you feel a sense of familiarity and accomplishment wash over you. By bringing the player back to a recognizable objective, we've managed to make a series of random events feel like logical steps of progression. So for Double Exposure's first level, I'll need to create puzzles that teach the camera mechanic, set an ominous tone for the testing environments, and reveal the overarching objective. To create levels, I'll be using Blender. Although it is commonly used to create 3D models and animations, with some minor tweaking, it can be transformed into a versatile level editing tool that could be comparable to the Source Engine's Hammer editor. Alright, blocking out level 1 took a little bit longer than expected, but alas, we finally have a working prototype. The following levels should come quicker now that I have the design juices flowing, and I plan to break all my levels into sections. And our first one actually is 5, each geared towards teaching players about the game. Chamber 1, it's extremely basic. It's just going to communicate that players can pick up these crates with their camera. There's nothing else really here. Chamber 2, for this one, I put together a maze to teach a player how to use buttons. An unintended side effect is this feeling of being a rat in a maze. This is perfect as it contributes to the ominous tone I wanted to further develop in the game, so I'm pretty happy with it. Chamber 3. The player should have a decent understanding of the camera, so now I shift the focus to some new mechanics. Here I introduce the fact that you can actually manipulate these EMP fields that the player has already seen, but I also introduce this pressure plate mechanic. Chamber 4. Everything from the previous 3 chambers comes together in harmony for the 4th chamber. Pressure plates, buttons, crates, and EMP fields all stand in the way of the player and the exit. It's up to the player's curiosity and problem solving to figure this one out. The 5th chamber is designed to subvert expectations, as the player anticipates another manufactured chamber, but gets something a little different. Now, I don't want to spoil everything, so I'm going to leave it at that. Now, before I continue any more development, I think it's best I get a second set of eyes on it. Fortunately, it's going to have to come around the next video. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I have had making it. If you've been a long time subscriber to my channel, you know this is a far cry from the content I used to make. And if you're new, I hope you stick around to follow alongside me on this crazy journey that is game development. Speaking of game development, this is a learning experience for me as much as it is for you. Therefore, if you have any suggestions, I'd love to see them in the comments. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope to see you around next time. See ya!